CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. Tired of the same repetitive government narratives? Then wave goodbye to the distractions and rhetoric of corporate media. For this is Anti-Media Radio.
But I want to get the language right. The big government is in trouble.
You're all a bunch of slaves! Bunch of slaves!
What we need in the United States is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another.
What's your definition of media?
And now, here's your host, S.M. Gibson.
My name is S.M. Gibson. This is Anti-Media Radio. It is October the 20th, 2016. We don't have much longer until we reach what I believe most of us believe one of the most historic elections in U.S. history. I know you hear that with every election, but not quite all of them have this flare of ridiculousness that we are experiencing. What an absolute joke this has become. It's a big club, to quote George Carlin, and me or you are not in it. This is an absolute farce. I don't know. I'm assuming everyone caught the debate last night. Just now, moments ago, at the Waldorf Astoria in New York, they had the Al Smith dinner. It's an event they do for presidential elections, and it's kind of a little bit of a roast, but both candidates went in pretty hard on each other. Hillary kept bringing up Russia with Trump. It's no secret that I am no Donald Trump fan whatsoever. Not a Vladimir Putin fan either. But the fact that Hillary Clinton just keeps talking about, and not only Hillary Clinton, it's the exact same group of people that were saying there's weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. This is the same group of people that are now going, well, it's the Russians trying to rig the election, even though they repeatedly say, oh, you can't rig an election now because Trump insinuated you could, so now you can't. It's offensive to suggest that. I highly encourage everyone to go look up the documentary Hacking Democracy if you don't believe that an election can be rigged. You can also look back at the 2000 election. You can look back at the 1960 election with Kennedy and Nixon. The list goes on. We'll get into that and a bunch of other stuff tonight. Russia is got a battalion of naval vessels surrounding Syria. Philippines have switched sides. No longer big allies with the United States. They are siding with China and Russia. A lot going on in the world. We've got 2 Americans killed in Afghanistan, an American soldier killed in Iraq. It looks like it's possible. From what I've seen, whoever gets in office, they're going to ramp up the wars. I think it's pretty apparent to everybody. Hillary's still on her no-fly zone kick, which I believe personally, for me, that is by far the most important issue of the election. The most important issue in the world right now is this: everything's Russia's fault. Everything's Russia's fault. It's all war propaganda. We've seen this before from this exact same group of people. We're seeing it again. There's no evidence. We see Donna Brazil not wanting to answer questions. WikiLeaks, Julian Assange has demonstrated what these people are up to, what they're doing. It's just disgusting. At least we see the veil being lifted just a little bit. Anyways, co-host Shannon Madden. Shannon, what's going on?
What's up, Mr. Gibson? Did you get a chance to watch the debates last night?
Unfortunately.
Man, that was a snooze fest. The no applause thing, really, that's Trump's, well, the character in the Bible, long hair, Samson. That's when you cut Trump's hair off. When you tell everybody they have to sit on their hands, they can't cheer and they can't boo and all the other things they do when Trump is on stage. Man, his balls are cut, dude.
Well, you just absolutely missed the real debate. Was this whole instance with the Al Smith dinner? Wow. Trump made a comment about her, It Takes a Village, the book she wrote. Well, it takes a village, and apparently she's taken a few in Haiti, which I thought was pretty funny. Sad that it's true. He started getting booed at some point. Yeah, but she did too. She just kept making these Russian jokes, and he actually made a pretty good. I will say it was kind of funny that he said, "Oh, Hillary bumped into me into the hall," and just looked at me and says, "Pardon me."
Oh, Daddy, I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah,
I'm gonna miss him.
That's the thing here that's so sad. This is what it's become. I was talking with somebody last night, and our election has really, literally, in real life, turned into who groped the last women, who's moved into the White House that has apparently groped the least amount of women. It's Bill Clinton's a rapist and Donald Trump's a rapist. And we're talking about the leader of the free world here. And it's like a reality show on E!
Yeah, who's going to wind up getting lucky in the Oval Office first? Well, we've already got a winner in that arena. So. Bill
I will say in Bill's scumbag defense here that he wasn't the first. I guarantee it.
No, of course not. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, listen to this conversation we're having.
I know.
We're talking about the president. Well, excuse me, the first lady or first man or what? How do you say that? First husband? What's going to be the correct term for Bill?
I don't know. First scumbag beats me. That's what he is. That's what they are.
He already was first scumbag.
It's really sad.
NAFTA is all his fault. There were so many things he could have nailed her on last night and he briefly glanced, over WikiLeaks, but he never really drove the point home.
Well, I think that's a testament to how unqualified and how Donald Trump has zero business being the president. Because either A, he's colluding with her on this election. I don't know. I'm starting to believe they genuinely do hate each other, but he could have taken her out so many times, didn't do it. And they
dangled carrots in front of his face to see if he would actually bite. I don't know if you noticed that or not early on in the debate. Podesta's name came out right out of the gate. I mean, like within, I want to say the first 10 minutes of the debate. And I'm like, okay, here it goes. And he missed it.
Oh, well, that's what it is. But before we go down this long path of this WWE style election, I want to hit on a couple of the top stories we've got on the antimedia.org right now. One in particular is Air Force Chief foresees decades more of U.S. wars. Yesterday, Chief of Staff General David Goldfein discussed a growing number of airmen being deployed abroad for longer periods of time. Says that the problem he expects to continue for decades more. He said, we've been deploying now for 15 years, and we've probably got another 15 to 20 years to go. Also, it's not just about, as he said, current wars. This is about seeing a global resurgence of Russia and China. Okay, so he's talking about we're deploying troops around the world now because of a resurgence of Russia and China. And now it is official that the Philippines have aligned themselves with Russia and China. Actually, their president said that it's China, the Philippines, and Russia against the world. We are barreling in to what appears could be a global conflict. Not that we're not already in a global conflict, but we are physically talking about World War III, the three world superpowers here, the United States, Russia, and China, all being at each other's throats. Looks like everybody's trying to take sides now. It's going down in Syria. It's a messy situation. It's not like Assad's some great person, because he's not. There's innocent people dying on all sides of this. But what are we doing? What is the United States doing? Why are they there? What do they hope to accomplish? It is very apparent at this point that the original objective of getting Assad out of power is not going to happen now. And if it is to happen, then you are getting in a direct conflict with Russia to have that happen. Is that really where we want to go? That's what Hillary Clinton's bragging about on a debate stage. Whether she says it or not, last night she's talking about having a no-fly zone against Russia, or in Syria, which would mean shooting down Russian jets, which would mean going to war with them. And tonight she's telling jokes about Russia. Like she's antagonizing this conflict that can be avoided, except it appears to me, and I think most rational, sane people, that it's just a bunch of psychopaths running everything. It's disgusting. I don't know. I'm just ranting now, Shannon.
Yes, you are, and for good reason. I'm with her. That's exactly what you say when you're with her. When you stand with her, that's what you're standing for. You're standing for World War III.
It's scary.
And again, again, before we get branded for, they're just spreading a bunch of fear and propaganda. I don't know. Go listen to what the woman said last night. The anti-media is running a video which has been very well put together, I might add. Kudos on the staff. That's floating around. Very short video. I encourage you to look it up. You will probably be able to direct them better than I would, Mr. Gibson. The video it spells it out in very plain language, using her own words and the words of the United States military, if such a thing, the no-fly zone, were to actually take place, and what it would trigger. Now, she gave a very ham-fisted response last night during the debates, basically saying, before we did anything, we would talk it over with Russia, which we already know which way Russia's going to fly straight through the area and dare somebody to fire upon them. Wouldn't you agree that's a fair assessment?
I don't think Putin's looking to get into war, but I think if he was drug into it, then he would certainly go for it. I think he's been very clear on that
But don't you think
his rhetoric is he doesn't want to be in war, but if everybody else is going to keep antagonizing, then he's going to go for it. That's at least what he's saying.
Don't you think for a second, though, if a no-fly zone is established in that region, that Russia is going to challenge it and compromise it at every twist and turn they can?
Oh, certainly. Certainly. No question.
So then we would be, quote-unquote, forced to take a hard stance against such behavior from Russia. I mean, it's you don't have to be a military strategist to wade through the information that we're giving you right here. I mean, it's plain common sense.
Well, I tell you what, and I know, especially talking about this Hillary stuff, so many people, and this is such part of our problem. We talk about it all the time here. But is everybody's, well, you're against Hillary, then you must be for Trump, or, you're against what we're doing, so you must be for Russia. Everybody just has these stupid, definitive, black and white, you must be, and everybody assumes what the other person thinks. But perfect example, we've got a story right now on the front page of the antimedia.org. Jill Stein, Green Party candidate for president of the United States, slams Hillary Clinton's foreign policy as much scarier than Donald Trump's. That's because Hillary Clinton, as you just said, Shannon, she's promoting the fact that she wants to go to war with Russia. That's what a no-fly zone means. It's insane what she's doing. But Jill Stein, who most people I would assume know, and if not, she is a strong advocate to peaceful relations in the Middle East, Green Party, typical, we can get through this without bombs. But she actually tweeted out, Hillary Clinton's foreign policy is much scarier than Donald Trump's, who does not want to go to war with Russia. In fact, even her running mate tweeted out and said, it should be clear to everyone that a vote for Hillary Clinton is a vote for war. Stein also followed it up with, she was questioned, she was in Texas, and she was questioned by the media about how she felt a Hillary Clinton presidency would go and what she thought it would look like. Jill Stein's response was, well, we know what kind of Secretary of State she was. Hillary is an incredible service to Wall Street and to the war profiteers. She led the way in Libya. She's now trying to start an air war with Russia over Syria, which means if Hillary gets elected, we're kind of going to war with Russia, folks, a nuclear-armed power.
Yep.
That's what we're dealing with. She also said who can sleep well with Trump in the White House, but you shouldn't sleep well with Hillary in the White House either. But, we've got Jill Stein running for president, we've got Gary Johnson running for president, and we've got, as Jill Stein put it, two deadly choices in Trump and Hillary. I just don't know where we go from here. It certainly appears that it's going to be Trump or Hillary. I'd put zero stock into any poll, which means nothing because, again, elections can be rigged. That is not just something Donald Trump's saying.
Well, and did you look at the polls today? Have you?
No,
have you
I don't.
over it doesn't matter. Whatever site that you go on, you're going to get a different number, a wildly different number. Some have Trump leading by a few points. Some have Clinton leading by a few points. Some have Clinton way ahead of the pack. Some have Trump kind of edging her out a little bit. And I really don't think the debate did anything to change anybody's mind or cement anybody's position. I happened to watch. I had to watch it on the CBS affiliate here. I live out a little bit further out on the edge of town, so I don't receive all of the stations clearly. But on CBS, they did this little. I don't know. They had this little group sampling of people that were quote unquote undecided voters. And they had a few of them that went over to Hillary and a few of them that went over to Trump. And then when they gave their explanations, it already sounded like they had already kind of half made their mind up anyways. I don't see where the debate was anything earth-shattering or groundbreaking, particularly because Trump did not dig in the areas that he should have dug in on. I can't stress that enough. And why people aren't shouting from the rooftops all of the sins and misdeeds by Hillary Clinton and her rapist husband are just beyond me. And I'm not even talking about the rape. I'm talking about Clinton Foundation, all of the ambassadorships. I mean, just, God, go back. The WikiLeaks is such an amazing rabbit hole of just filth and deception and greed. And just how low can you go, you know? And this is the WikiLeaks, and I encourage everybody to go take a look at it. I don't care if CNN says it's illegal or not. Everybody needs to look it up, and everybody
they're saying
needs
that
to,
because they're involved too. They're mixed in.
Absolutely. Go take a look at it. Go down that ugly, nasty rabbit hole and get a great snapshot of what exactly is wrong with the United States government right now, and why people have such, just apathy across the board about the whole process. I really honestly believe that this spectacle is not going to drive people to the polls, but quite the opposite. You just had two really disgusting candidates, and, most people with half a lick of sense are going to stay out of it altogether. I'm just, that's kind of my feeling about it.
I genuinely think, and what difference it'll make, I don't know if it'll make any difference, but I think that this WikiLeaks stuff is going to serve to drive people to the polls a little bit, maybe. I think it'll probably give Trump some votes, and it'll probably give Gary and Jill some votes, too. I do think that people are finally really starting to see what the Clintons are, what Hillary Clinton is especially. I don't know if you saw the email leaked in today, Podesta Emails 13, saw it early this morning. I believe it was. There's been so many leaks. It's been one every day, where Jane Sanders, Bernie Sanders' wife, they were talking about how she multiple times was begging Bernie not to endorse Hillary before he did, of course. It seems like she still has some morals about her. And I think Bernie has been the biggest wake-up call, because there were so many people on the left, so many people that were Democrats, so many people that would never in a million years vote for Donald Trump, or Republican, should I say, because that's far two different things than Donald Trump, isn't it? But they saw how corrupt she is, and whether you're left, right, whatever label you want to put on yourself, we're all human beings, but I think they're starting to see what she is. A younger generation especially is starting to see what the Clintons are. We'll see. I know that they're going to get into it. I think we've still got, how many days are we at here? 18, 19? I don't know.
I can't wait. I can't wait for this thing to be over.
Yeah, that's the truth. There was a email today between, I'm looking here, Patty Doyle and Neera Tanden. Anyways, the email said, Mark Penn is out at Microsoft, per company email, will form a private equity firm, want to invest. That's from John Podesta. And then the next direct email was, can I sell short? That's insider trading and is really illegal.
Those Russians got it all twisted. They got your head twisted up. That came from Russia. Russia got that, right? Russia. We're not friendly with Russia.
Hey, that's John Brazil.
Now we're not talking about emails. That's exactly what Hillary Clinton did last night.
Oh, did you see? There were two Donna Brazil interviews going around. One was a guy from the Young Turks cornered her and was asking her about her handing off questions, being word for word, from her email to the question asked in the debate, and she's like, well, that's Russian. Are you attacking me? And at some point she made a reference that, was he attacking her because she was a woman somehow? And then, well, it gets better. So then, of all people, Megyn Kelly got on her about it, which was kind of surprising to me, and really went in after. And she turned well, I'm a Christian, and I know what it's like to be persecuted here. It's like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
What does that have anything that you've been caught red-handed doing this? You worked for CNN for over a decade, and she's like, but it's Russia, but it's Russia, but it's... She's like a broken record. She knows that it's coming down on top of her. I think a lot of them do. I think it reminds me of, and I don't know how many people know their history on this, but Lyndon Johnson was more than likely not going to be John F. Kennedy's running mate in 1964, and he was possibly going to get in some legal trouble for some of his actions. And magically it all went away, and once he became president, he made all his problems go away. I felt for a long time Hillary feels like she just has to get into the Oval Office and she can make it all disappear. But Julian Assange is making it really hard for her right now. I'll say that.
Well, I mean, all she has to do is look across the room and talk to Bill about that. He'll tell you right quick that there is no stone left unturned even after you get to the Oval Office. Well, particularly when you do things in the Oval Office that are rather, shady. But what ifs?
Well, hey, this is definitely, again, no defense of Bill Clinton, but Bill Clinton certainly lied under oath. He certainly paid out $50,000 to Polly Jones and disbarred that whole number. And we can go down, his policy things he's done were as far as signing the crime bill, breaking up families through the drug war, minimum.
Oh, now wait. He was never disbarred. He was actually had his law license suspended for 5 years. For 5 years in the state of Arkansas. Now, bear in mind, this is right after he just served as president of the United States. I don't think he was going to be moving back to Arkansas practicing law anytime soon, right?
No. Well, he didn't.
Yeah. No, he didn't.
But anyway, this is kind of where I was going with this. WikiLeaks is now hinting at they may tell everybody, because of all this Russian propaganda, at least hinting, who knows, of who the leak was. I'm assuming Seth Rich. And if you don't know who Seth Rich is, he worked for the NC, was found dead, robbed. It was like 4 a.m, pretty shady. Nothing was taken from him. That's kind of the belief of who the thread was. Julian Assange, what was it? He offered $20,000, I believe, to find his killer. And why would Assange do that if he wasn't in some way, shape, or form involved? I saw earlier, too, Anonymous talking about how Seth Rich was part of Anonymous in some way, shape, or form, which, Anonymous, that's a very broad term, but we'll see. Because Tim Kaine and Donna Brazile, see if I can find it here. WikiLeaks tweeted out earlier that Donna Brazile and Tim Kaine are liars, and they know they are lying. And says, we have a surprise in store for Tim Kaine and Donna Brazile. That could be really interesting. No updates yet. Maybe we'll know something, when we wake up in the morning. It seems like every morning I woke up this week, it's been something new from WikiLeaks. Taking Assange's internet access, away, did literally nothing. It was an empty gesture. I don't know how anybody thought it would make any difference. I mean, do they just expect, like, he's got a hard drive there in the embassy and that's it? Like, something happened to him, that'd be the end of it? the only reason he's still around is because they know if they do something to him, the amount of information that would get released all at once would be so damning that they can't even go there. That's why Julian Assange is still sitting in an embassy in the middle of London.
For now.
Well, there's consequences if they do that, because of they started, passing out all these codes the other day on Twitter when they cut his internet access. So if something actually literally happened to his safety, there's no telling what would be released. Of course, they had the Doomsday File a few years ago that they put out, threatening if something ever did happen to Assange. But that's when it was all the Republicans that hated Assange and the whole right-wing side of politics hated Julian Assange. And the Democrats didn't really praise him, but they were more forgiving, I guess. But now it's completely flipped around.
Well, Hillary never forgave. Hillary has considered Assange a target for quite some time.
Well, yeah, she hates his guts.
Yes, and probably now more than ever. Of course, we can blame this on the Russians all we want to, but, whatevs.
Yeah, well, there's no evidence of that. Did you see where Rubio came out and said, "Hey guys, you could be on the other foot. I don't think we need to be real happy about any of these leaks." But again, that's company man Lil Marco. So
my heart kind of swelled for a half a second when you started the sentence with Marco Rubio came out. So
one day he'll be brave enough. Nobody's gonna judge him. He just needs to do it.
Him and Lindsey Graham, they would make a cute couple. They really would.
Nobody's gonna judge him. It's 2016. They need to just go ahead and do what they got to do. Stop playing the games. It's funny to joke about. Except for Lindsey Graham, I'm pretty sure that's probably real. I'm pretty sure Lindsey Graham.
Come on. That I know a queen when I see one, and Lindsey Graham is a big old queen.
Yeah, I think it would help him politically to come out. Anyways, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, even though,
You already did.
I guess so. Did you see where Giant Meteor is polling really, really well now? Well, it's been polling really well.
Well, I mean, a giant meteor is going to happen no matter what, regardless of a giant meteor wins the election or not, because giant meteor is coming. Believe it.
Well,
want to talk about that no-fly zone again?
What is wrong with people that they aren't at least paying attention and acknowledging that there's something massively corrupt? Is it the majority of Americans that are awake now? Are people still just, watching the Kardashians?
Well, you have a combination of both. I mean, people are awake, but now that they're awake, they're finding other diversions or other suppositions to make other than the actual truth. Nobody's really digging that hard, and it's getting harder and harder to dig for the truth. You go on Google, and you're not going to get the search that you're looking for that's somewhat controversial or somewhat, salacious. You're going to get whatever, family-friendly Google-picked selection. You have to dig and dig and dig, and then you have to read one story and then see a link here and then follow it down the rabbit hole to get the absolute truth, and it can be exhausting after a while. So some people will just stop at a certain point instead of following it all the way down and finding out what the truth is, and that's why we see so much crap on social media. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, certainly. And I'll tell you what. Speaking of Google, last night, okay, everybody's heard this. We know it is what it is. We've had Juanita Broderick on this very program and spoke to her. But last night, I watched the debate on C-SPAN, and they cut to the woman that hosts the call-in show directly after the debate, the very first caller. very first one said, one thing I was really upset about was they didn't bring up the fact that Bill Clinton is a rapist. Bill Clinton is a rapist. You know, pretty funny. Sadly, it's true, so it's not really funny at all because he's a scumbag that is
he's a rapist.
Yeah, right.
He's a rapist.
Now, that brings me to the point of Google. If you go to Google right now and type in Bill Clinton, R-A-P, instead of it filling in rape or whatever, it says Bill Clinton rap album, Bill Clinton rapper, Bill Clinton rap song.
Whoa, that's heavy.
So the point is that Google can manipulate the information people receive to a degree today. Now, if you want to get out there and search for it, you can find it. But then you have to wade through some of the BS, which, of course, is out there.
Snopes.
Yeah. Man.
Oh, that kills me when somebody uses Snopes on social media. They're like, this is it. I'm gonna show you once and for all. This is the absolute truth.
Yeah, Snopes said it, like it shuts the conversation down. Well.
Yeah, drop the mic. Snopes
I don't know if you heard, but I saw it on Snopes.
See how big that where the word false is right there? Yeah.
What's scary is that there's people out there that just think that that's the end-all, be-all of information. Well, Snopes said. And PolitiFact, that's another one. I saw something going around earlier today from PolitiFact, and I don't remember who the Democrat was, but it was something about how the United States didn't have a federal income tax until 1913. And it said, oh, yeah, it's mostly true. That's how they rated it. Ron Paul said the exact same thing. It says that the federal income tax was zero prior to 1913. And they rated Ron Paul's a half-truth. The exact same statement, exact same meaning. One, they consider true. The other, not. Again, it just goes to show you how perception is manipulated, especially when it's being run through websites that are big corporations. There's propaganda on all sides. I don't tell anyone that the anti-media itself, any web page is, that's it. That's where you get all your information from. I highly encourage everyone to do their own research, look into everything for themselves. Of course, I believe that the anti-media is a tool to help steer people in the right direction, and we do our best to offer people as accurate of information as possible. But it's up to you to not be in the dark, because I can tell you right now that corporate media is there to keep you in the dark 100%. I mean, they are just a PR firm. Again, it's a big club, and you're not in it. Neither am I. Sorry to tell you, Shannon, neither are you.
Now, wait a minute. I am a card-carrying FCC holder. Or, excuse me, a FCC card holder. One of the two. So I'm actually part of the problem.
Oh, okay. Well, when do I get benefits from this, from knowing you, or does it not matter?
No. Actually, it's quite the opposite. I'm gathering information on you.
Oh, well, fair enough. Good luck.
I got an ass load too. Ass load.
Well, let me know about it.
You think WikiLeaks is bad? No.
It's so bad too. I don't know if you heard. We touched on this the other night on Tuesday. Dennis Kucinich came out, former congressman from Ohio, and Democratic presidential nominee, was even talking about how the FBI was, in the tank for Hillary. It's top to bottom. I mean, it's corruption in every direction. And yet, people buy into it. People buy into it. It's really, 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 really scary.
And again, I get that people like Trump for whatever reason. I mean, usually those are people who have some of those same backwoods kind of views about things. At least that's the Trump supporters here in Alabama that I've talked to. The ones that really just are hardcore, and will tell you every single thing that's on their mind as far as issues about race, as far as issues about the feminist movement, so on and so forth. You can imagine it's Rush Limbaugh times 1,000 with the occasional racial epithets thrown in. But Hillary supporters, I mean, they paint a rosy, glowing picture, and she's going to be really good, and she's almost going to be like pulling on a warm sweater, and when you actually break it down to them exactly why you don't like Hillary, other than the normal rhetoric and she's a woman.
That's the uranium, by the way.
That, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's what that.
So I mean, I can't understand that disconnect. How can you hear things that are truth, that are a matter of public record, and completely shut it out? Oh, that's just a bunch of nonsense. No, that's actually the truth. Well, no, that's just a conspiracy, blah blah. It's here. Let me go ahead and direct you to what you consider to be a legitimate news source. Man, this whole thing's screwed, dude.
Well, I tell you what, like for a while, especially early on, it really seemed like it was really important to, get the word out on Donald Trump and this guy should be president. I feel like at this point, every time Donald Trump opens his mouth, he makes his own case against himself.
Yep.
That he shouldn't be president. But Hillary, people live in this false hipness of, we're cool because we get it. We're gonna get her in there, and it's gonna be okay. Or she's better than him. It's like, no, she's not. No, she's not. That doesn't look. Two people can be equally bad. That's possible, and that's what we're seeing here.
And the thing is I can't really stretch my mouth.
In different ways, though. Very different.
Yeah,
ways.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a much more truthful statement. They are two equally awful people, just in completely different ways. Because again, Trump hasn't had the, luxury or disability, I guess you could say, of actually serving in public office. So we don't know what he's capable of. Now, he's never been a mayor. He's never been a city council person, never been a congressman, never been a state representative, nothing. He's just been a leader of a corporation, and that corporation is pretty much just his brand name. That's it.
Right. Well, she definitely has a track record, and somehow people are overlooking it, and I don't think it's everybody. Again, I mean, WikiLeaks is doing the job that the corporate media won't do, and even with them doing it for them, they won't report on it. For the most part, I have to hand it to. I was shocked watching that debate last night when Chris Wallace said the word WikiLeaks on stage. My jaw.
Yeah, and really, that's when I started to get excited that here's where Trump is finally going to get his. They're giving him a softball here. He's going to knock it out of the park. And he just kind of whiffed at it a little bit and went, that was it. It was game over. He'd mentioned WikiLeaks or, kind of getting something halfway salacious for half a second and then just completely just go off the rails. And then she's over there in the corner screaming, Russia, 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 Russia.
I feel like Trump is somebody that he should be in the comment section on Facebook. Like he's seen a little bit, like he's read, some of the chain emails.
That's awesome. Donald Trump is a walking, talking version of the comment section on Facebook.
He is.
Man, you just nailed it, dude. You just nailed it.
Like he's seen a few things so he can kind of talk about it, but when it actually gets down to talking about facts and something real, many times, even Chris Wallace got talked to about the no-fly zone. Trump never mentioned it. Like, he could have just absolutely gone after her and didn't. I don't get the impression he knows very much about any of this stuff, like, at all.
Well, and again, yeah, you're right. He's completely out of touch because it wouldn't have taken much research at all to come up with just a 30, 45 second supposition on what those emails contained. And how damning they are to her and the whole Democratic Party, which is walking hand in hand with the Republican Party, because you have a lot of top-level Republicans now are basically saying, "Nah, we can't stand with Trump." And, if you're in that position and you're a top-ranking Republican and you say, "No, I don't think this Trump guy is going to be a good fit," well, then what is that an endorsement for?
Well, another thing, too, is they touched on the fact, and Trump did touch on the fact that she's taking money from Saudi Arabia and all the human rights abuses from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, now he did bring that up to his defense, but at that point, I think it was too little too late.
But here's the thing. If he would have been paying attention to some of these leaks, they openly acknowledge in these emails, at least according to their beliefs, what they say, Saudi Arabia is funding ISIS. He could have jumped on that so fast and did not. The human rights abuses are a given, and it's terrible, terrible, terrible. But he literally could have said, "You're taking money from the same people that are funding ISIS," and didn't do it. Another thing that wasn't mentioned, and look, I don't know what the truth of this is because it sounds crazy. But the fact of the matter is that they were talking about someone being assassinated. Whether they were joking about it or not, I don't know. And the timing was very coincidental because less than 80 hours after the email was sent, Supreme Court Justice Scalia was found dead. And
that works.
That's it. And also, the description in the email matched the description of his location. That's at least worth looking into if you're the Justice Department. But you've got Podesta on Twitter making jokes about the whole thing. Like, this is serious. This is serious business. Possibly a Supreme Court justice was assassinated, and it's not being talked about. That is huge. Mm-hmm. That is huge. Huge. And at the very, very least, because that email doesn't prove that they did it, but it's very coincidental, and it certainly raises a lot of questions, and it seems like some questions that we need answered. And somebody, you would assume, would look into it. But no, we don't get that. We get
Russia.
Right. You get that. You get Loretta Lynch, who they're saying won't. Ironically, Loretta Lynch, who did meet on the plane with Bill Clinton, who's letting Hillary Clinton get away with everything that she's gotten away with. It's rumored that Hillary wants her to take Scalia's place on the Supreme Court. That's
friends helping friends.
That's it. How's that one for you? So, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do.
You still want to take me up on the bet as far as who our president of the United States is going to be when the dust settles?
I still don't think she's going to actually be the president, but I don't know what's going to happen at this point.
Her hand will be on that stack of Bibles lying through her teeth.
Nah, she'll.
I solemnly swear.
She'll combust. I think if anybody actually votes for Trump, I think maybe they'll just combust right there or catch leprosy or something just by voting for one of them. So who knows?
Well,
it's gonna be an interesting day though. No, all kidding aside, I do not.
There are a lot of Trump supporters that don't understand that you already, as Kevin put it in our last episode, probably don't know where their polling place is, don't know that they have to be registered to vote, already.
Neither do her. Neither do the people that are going to vote for her because they're dead. Or
they've already voted.
Right. It's all taken care of.
Those ballots are being written up as we speak.
That's it.
Yeah.
Real quick, we've only got about 10 minutes here, and I want to touch on this. We talked about it Tuesday. This is a big, big deal. I don't know if anybody's heard about the USS Mason, which is parked off the coast of Yemen and in the Red Sea. Supposedly, it's been under attack 3 times, had missiles fired at it. And the Pentagon, first off, the United States retaliated for these attacks, started bombing the coast of Yemen, which you need to understand that Saudi Arabia has been leveling the country for over a year now, massacring people, bombing hospitals, bombing schools, and we've supplied all the funding for it. We've supplied them with the weaponry, we've supplied them with the bombs. It's U.S. bombs that they're using there. So it's not like we haven't really been involved, but now we're just actually shooting the same weapons ourselves. Pentagon comes out and says, well, it's possible that it was faulty radar, and we're still trying to figure out if they actually shot anything at us or not. But, mind you, it's all right. We retaliated, even though we really don't know what happened. Nobody's even mentioning this, that for no reason, we just started bombing somebody. It could have been faulty radar. And I still have to bring up the point, if the missiles fired at the naval ship for the United States were so far off you're only picking them up on radar, then that's not really much of a threat anyway, is it? And it's just totally excused that we're retaliating for what? For nothing? I mean, that's U.S. foreign policy. That's what our tax dollars go towards. That's terrifying. When we talk about Syria, at least Syria has gotten a little bit of attention, I guess, because it's still spun as this whole Russia's bad thing. But killing on all sides of this is bad. It needs to stop from all angles. And guess what? Syria's not the United States, and I hate to break to everybody, but we have no business being there. And for whatever Russia is and for whatever they're doing, they were invited by Assad to be there. We were not. So people need to let Syria handle Syria's business. We got involved in Iraq. How'd that work out? Speaking of Hillary Clinton, got involved in Libya. How'd that work out? I mean, we had the story up on the anti-media, was it a month or two ago, Shannon, where Libyans were coming out that were very anti-Gaddafi. Are now saying we wish he was back in power because of what has happened to the country of Libya since his regime was toppled.
Mm-hmm. Did you get to see how pretty and beautiful Baghdad was before we started bombing it? Beautiful place.
I knew somebody that I hadn't spoken to in a few years, a family friend that I know was teaching in Syria before the war broke out. And from what I understand, it was a nice, beautiful country, and everybody was, getting along fine, and then all of a sudden, it kicked off.
ISIS. Freedom.
And I know, we've had on the show a few times, a friend of mine that served in Iraq 3 different times said that he was told by locals in Iraq that Saddam Hussein wasn't a good guy, but at least we could walk down the street without fear of a rocket falling on our head or falling down and you hear something explode and you're worried that your family just got killed. But people didn't have to worry about that. They knew, which lines they had to live inside of, but it wasn't just total hell in the streets, which is...
It's kind of like what we have here now, huh?
Oh, well, we're not... here, no, we're not living anything like anything those people have experienced. I don't know. I mean, it's been total chaos in the Middle East. But that's the deal, is our foreign policy has brought just hell on earth to these people. And it has come with, for whatever reason, by U.S. bombs. We haven't brought peace and democracy. We've brought destruction and chaos. And somehow they're trying to rile it all back up again. And now they want to drag Russia into it. How does anybody think this is going to end well? Does anyone have any evidence of U.S. meddling in the Middle East that's just gone swimmingly great? This is a positive thing, people. This is exactly what we need to be doing. Any evidence of that?
It begs the question, too, at the end of the day, where is China going to stand?
Well, we know where they're going to stand. They're going to stand with Russia.
Absolutely. We're talking about Russia. We haven't even brought China even close to the table in discussion on this, and that's mega huge. If you combine the two of them together, we don't stand a chance.
Well, it certainly doesn't look good. And this whole Philippines thing, is that a sign of things to come with other nations? Maybe. Are there going to be a bunch of nations flipping? I don't know. I mean, the world is definitely becoming more divided by the day. I don't think anybody can question that. And for what and why? What's being accomplished here? And it's just different levels of division, because you hear someone like Trump talk about a wall and, well, we got to divide this, we got to divide that. And people are like, well, Hillary would never go for that. Think about all the terrible things Trump said about Muslims. He's this, he's that. She's okay with killing them. She's okay with dropping bombs on their head. She didn't blink at that.
And she's cool with that.
Right. I mean, so how's that any different? I mean, it's to me, it's so much phony outrage because it's only directed at one candidate. If you looked at both candidates and said, wow, this is disgusting on both levels, there's no way I could vote for any of them, to me that would be real outrage. That you don't like the rhetoric from either one of them. But when you're selective about it and you go, well, Trump's disgusting, but she'll be okay, it's like, well, you don't pay attention to anything. I just don't get it. It's become the trendy thing. It's become the trendy thing.
And at the end of the day, it's just a puppet show. Something to distract the people that would still actually care about such a thing.
I will say this.
Democracy's gone, y'all.
I will say we got 1 minute left here. Until these emails came out, I didn't really believe that George Soros had as much influence as it appears he really does. That's the big conspiracy theory. Oh, it's George Soros, or it's George Soros. But according to these emails, he definitely has his hand in a lot of stuff regarding Hillary Clinton, at least. And if she does become president, we'll see how that goes. But that's it for Anti-Media Radio. We'll be back next week for Shannon, SM, Gibson. Be back. Nick will be on Monday. Anti-Media Radio out.